Hello, welcome, friends, to another week, another episode of Mental Health Mondays. It is the beginning of October. I wish it was starting to feel a little more like fall in LA. It's not. It's still pretty warm. A little chilly here and there, a little cloudier here and there, but it still feels like summer. I feel like sometimes that fucks with my head a little bit. Like, I think it's almost necessary to feel the seasons go by. And in a way, it feels like time is standing still because it just always seems like the weather's the same every day. Every day's kind of the same. So it's like time isn't going by. But then it also makes time seem like it's going super quickly because all of a sudden you turn around, it's like, holy shit, it's October. That's kind of how I feel. Rent is due again. Woo! Thank God. Yay. Fucking sick. This week, I didn't write a single thing down. I feel like I procrastinated like at school again, and I just instead of cramming for the test, I just said fuck it, I'll wing it and see if I remember what I know. I don't really know exactly what the best format for this is. I don't know if the writing stuff down is a little too clinical and a little too forced. I feel like sometimes when I'm listening back to the podcast that it feels like it doesn't sound like me. Obviously, the words that I type, I write everything out. But when I'm reading it, I'm like almost performing too much, and I want it to be a little bit more like natural than that, just because the whole point of this is that flaws are okay, mistakes are okay, you're okay, but just be honest, be real, be authentic. I think that's big for your mental health as well, as being authentic. Not trying to fit into some box or like pretend you're something you're not, because it's not sustainable and it can fuck your mental health up. So, moves away from the mic to take a breath. Remember Chocolate Rain? Remember viral videos before it was just every video that you see? Yeah, I don't know the best format for this. I'm still filling it out, man. I'm kind of getting tired of talking to myself. I'm constantly talking with myself every day, all day. But I mean, I'm a little tired of like not having someone else to bounce stuff off of. So, I'm gonna fix that. Gonna get some guests and stuff. It's probably a little more interesting than just hearing me ramble on every week about whatever. But anyways, yeah, I didn't write anything down because I didn't really feel like it all week, to be honest. Usually, Monday is when the episode drops. So I release the reel, and then I don't think much about it until weekend comes. Then I'll start writing some stuff down. Then usually on Sunday, I sit down and I'm like, all right, what do I want to talk about? Write it out, make sure it sounds like it's worded well, and then shoot, and then hope for the best. But this week, I don't know. Actually, I was just enjoying the weekend. I guess that's a good thing. I was just kind of enjoying the little things as much as possible. So I just didn't sit down and write it. But I want to stay consistent, so rather than being like, I don't really have much to talk about this week, fuck it. I'll shit out an episode anyways. I guess that's a good place to start, though, is the little things. Just thinking, I always talk about how over worrying about the little things is so unnecessary and can affect our mental health negatively so easily. But conversely, not appreciating the little things can have just as negative effect on your mental health. And that was kind of apparent to me this weekend because sometimes, all the time, I feel like I'm completely wasting my time watching sports. It's dumb. It's silly. Or watching TV, movies, whatever. Because I feel antsy, like I'm not being productive. But I allowed myself a bit this morning to just chill the fuck out and watch the Jets, which is not good for my mental health in general also because they're pitiful. But they won today. But my point being that it's okay to, like, just chill the fuck out when you need to and turn on the game. Let your mind be free. Let your, like, for example, big play in the game, Jets fuck it up somehow, of course, and I'm, like, visibly angry, actually exclaimed in anger. And immediately afterwards, I'm like, why? Well, who cares? This doesn't matter at all. But then I'm like, oh, maybe there is a healthy level of like letting myself get into something and just be happy in the moment, you know? So I was trying to let myself do that without being too hard on myself this morning, which was fun. I actually had fun watching football and like actually letting myself relax, which was rare, has been rare. I feel like I've just been so stressed out about everything, the music stuff, and again, feeling like I'm never doing enough, which there is some truth to it. I do think I need to push a bit harder, but at the same time, I have to have some grace with myself and realize, like, all right, maybe you didn't do as much as you wanted or needed to today, but that doesn't mean today was a waste of your time. You did other things that you needed to do, or just things you wanted to do. It's okay to actually take some time to do some stuff you want to do, even if it's little stupid stuff or seemingly silly stuff, like watching the Jets game. Or, of course, I've had every Yankee game on since I was fucking 8 years old. So that was another thing. Obviously, watching Aaron Judge go for the American League home run record. I just mocked myself even in that moment. That was silly. That's been exciting. It is funny, though, how there's definitely a balance, because there are fans of things, specifically sports, but also diehard fans of anything. You know, whether it be like something where the diehard core fan base is like crazy. The word fan means fanatic, meaning you're kind of out of your right mind when you're rooting. So even like something like Star Wars or Game of Thrones, like Lord of the Rings, typically nerdy things, also all things that I love. I feel like there's a fine balance between like, you know what, I'm going to let myself have this passion and enjoy this thing and not let it and like let my emotions go and get a little bit upset over things I might not like about it. Like in sports, your team messing up or losing, whatever, that's okay. But there's a fine line between that and like going fucking insane about it. Because that's ridiculous, obviously. So it's hard for me to accept the middle ground or accept like that there's gray area sometimes, because I like to preach like there's a gray area to everything. Not everything is black and white. Not everything is cut and dry. I think everything has some minutia to it. Pretty good word, by the way, minutia. But what I'm saying is, I guess, that I let myself go a little and just be a fan today, and it was fun, but it did make me think of people getting a little too into it and it actually affecting their mental health. I've seen some crazy fans or like fighting at a sporting event. What are you doing? What are you doing? The people in the field, no offense, they all preach like, you know, it's all about the fans. We have the best fans in the world. They don't give a fuck about you. And to be honest, they don't care that much about the outcome of the game compared to what you're doing, fist fighting, physically combating another human being over a sporting event that you have no say in what happens on the field. That's ridiculous. Obviously, that's a little over the line. That's when you're letting it affect your mental health too much. And of course, alcohol is 99% of the time involved. But it is funny how I'm trying to like make myself accept, like, dude, it's okay. You could have fun. You could watch sports and just chill out a little bit and relax and not be so stressed out all the time. And even let yourself get into the game. There's nothing wrong with that, even though you know at the end of the day it doesn't really affect your life. It's okay to get into the game and, you know, like cheer and boo and all those things are okay. Those are natural things. Clearly, millions of people do it. It's okay. There's a healthy way to do it. But then the other part of me is like, yeah, but I also think you're kind of a loser if you get too into it. Not a loser, and I'm not yucking your yum. I'm not calling anyone out. But I guess I'm saying in those extreme circumstances, it is like, what are you doing? This is not adding to your life at all. Chill out. It's like the scene, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Anger Management, which is underrated in my opinion. I almost said classic. That's a little much. Underrated in my opinion. Funny, hilarious. Obviously, Jack Nicholson, Adam Sandler. It's a good movie. Anyways, the one dude who's in all those Adam Sandler movies, like, he's in Anger Management specifically for sports. So it's like that's always where my mind goes to those when I think of those crazy fans. Is like dunk the fucking ball. Like, he's so into it and so angry. Part of that's fun. But when you bring that into your daily life, it's like, yo, that doesn't affect you at all. What are you doing? So I was thinking about that a little earlier. I was thinking about that a little earlier. My girlfriend's definitely cooking something because the smoke alarm's going off. I might have to pause this really quick because she can't reach. Oh, she turned it off. Good job, babe. Wow, I clearly have nothing to talk about. Talk about anger management, not the actual group of anger management, but like the B-list Adam Sandler movie. B-list meaning like, if there was tiers to it, Adam Sandler movies, A-list, B-list, C-list, D-list, I'd probably put like B in terms of his repertoire. I don't fucking know. So yeah, I've just been trying to maybe let myself go a little more and not be so serious because like none of it really matters. Even the serious stuff doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things. So I've been trying to just let myself relax a little bit. I miss playing video games, to be honest. That's another thing that's like a huge fucking time waster. And I think that there is a level to it that it can be kind of it can kind of go against positive mental health practices. Again, getting too into them and getting like raging over video games is ridiculous and obviously bad for your mental health. But there is something to like just letting yourself relax and just chill out and shutting your brain off for a moment. I've often preached more that there's maybe more efficient or better ways, healthier ways than electronics or like movies, television, your phone, scrolling through your phone, video games, going outside, taking a hike, being active, reading a book. Yeah, but at the same time, it's okay in moderation to enjoy those other things. So I've been thinking about that too. I know it sounds dumb, but I do miss playing video games. But now my setup is in the studio, here in the studio, which you can only see one wall of. But there's not much else here. It's just this, and then that, and then this, and then that. But yeah, my games, I don't even want to say gaming setup. My video games, los videojuegos, are in the studio. So anytime I'm in here, if I play video games, I'm immediately like, why am I not working on music? I feel dumb, even though that's not how it works. You got to you got to give yourself some slack sometimes. But that's a tough one because, again, I do feel like, why would I play video games when I can, like, read a book? I know that it's different. They're two different things. But, yeah, I guess I'm having trouble just letting myself be and, like, letting everything be okay. Because for the most part, it is okay. And okay is better than bad. It might not be great. Sometimes it feels very blah to be like, yeah, things are okay. But that is better than bad. And when things are okay, you have a better opportunity to set yourself up for things to be great. So I'm trying to be grateful for that and also just let myself, like, be happy enough in those okay times. And, like, it's difficult, I guess, because, like, right now my leg is going, I'm antsy doing this. This is something I want to be doing. It's something I think is important and also ties in with, like, my career goals, aspirations, building something for myself, like a podcast. There's a trillion podcasts. I don't expect this to be some, top 5 on Spotify. I think that as my music career moves forward, that hopefully the fans will intermingle and, like, it'll kind of bring them in and see a little window into my world and things that I want to put out in the world and help other people with. But so shooting these podcast episodes, I do look forward to it every week. But even then, sometimes while shooting, I just notice my legs going a little. It's like, there's so many other things I have to be doing. It's like, just relax, breathe. Okay, breathe and relax and just let it all happen, man. It's not all that serious. Maybe I'm antsy because I have nothing really to say, so I'm kind of I should have had coffee. I had coffee this morning, obviously, always need it. But I should have maybe had another cup before the podcast started. Get my lips a little looser. I had 2 beers last night. I don't drink a lot anymore, and I'll tell you what, 2 will get you where you want to go when you don't drink a lot anymore. That was fun. Again, enjoying the little things. Watched Hocus Pocus for the first time ever. It's okay. I don't mean you know what it is? It's tough. Although I think for everyone who watched it as a kid, I can give an objective review because I'm a huge movie person. I've seen a trillion movies. I love movies. I've never fucking seen it. It never made it to my thing. I think because at an early age, I was like, yeah, horror movies are awesome. And I don't think I was not in a very sheltered home. So, like, I saw The Exorcist when I was super little. And, like, things like that. Scarface on my 7th birthday. It's a classic story I always tell. I had the opportunity my dad was trying to get Yankee tickets for my 7th birthday to, go to my first Yankee game ever. And it was a little, it's expensive. We didn't necessarily have the money to do stuff like that at that time. So instead of doing that, I don't remember where the fuck he went or where my parents went, but my brother was like, come down in the basement, let's watch Scarface. So have you ever seen the movie? The chainsaw scene fucked me up a little when I was 7. I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of blood. But anyways, what I'm getting at is that Hocus Pocus just never really crossed my lap. Never came across my lap. So I got to watch it as a 28-year-old who I listen, I'm going to the movie thinking like, yeah, I get it. I know what it is. It's a kid's fun Halloween movie. Also, by the way, it's like 30 years old now, which is crazy. It's 30 years old, just about. That blows my fucking mind because it's not that old. Like watching the movie, it doesn't look like something that was 30 years old. When we were growing up, you watch something that's 30 years old, there's a chance it's still in fucking black and white. So it's just crazy that it's 30 years old. Some of the things were a little, I mean, like the 3 witches get hung. It's a kid's movie. And in the beginning, the 3 witches literally, like, they fucking hang them in Salem. They don't show, like, that, the necks and stuff. Gruesome shit, but like they show the benches going out from their feet and their little witch shoes dangling and stuff. And immediately I'm like, damn, this is certainly not, made post like political correctness era. So, and the whole movie, the running joke is that the main boy is a virgin. All of them say it. The little sister, who's like 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever in that age range, keeps being like, yeah, my older brother, he's a virgin and a loser. The whole movie. Which was actually the best part of the movie for me. The little girl is the fucking best. It's also funny to say little girl because she's definitely older than I am, which is hilarious. But, so yeah, watch Hocus Pocus. So I because I haven't ever seen it, I don't have the veil of nostalgia of like, this movie's the best. Everyone who loved Hocus Pocus as a kid, obviously, my girlfriend as well, watching it with her, was like, it's the best. It's just a classic. It's just like all the Christmas movies we used to watch. It's the same type of thing. This movie's the best. So I don't have that going into it. I'm not watching it being like, I know it, or like, I don't know. Didn't really know much about the movie at all, other than that everyone seems to love it. If you were a kid in the 90s, 2000s, you grew up watching it. So I didn't have the veil of like nostalgia, like this movie is good just because I saw it when I was a kid and I have memories attached to it and stuff. So I just watched it based on and I enjoyed it. I'm not talking shit about Hocus Pocus. It's not really a movie you could talk shit about. It's they didn't make it going for an Academy Award. It is what it is. But to give my honest review, it's okay. I feel like as a kid, even if I watched it, I wouldn't have been as crazy as you guys all are. It's a Disney-ish movie. I think Disney Channel was just not on my radar when I was a kid. I think at first, I don't think we had Disney Channel. And then once we did, I just was so far Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, like those kinds of cartoons and shit that I was like, I'm good with Sweet Life. I don't need it. So I guess maybe Hocus Pocus is in that same vein. Or like fucking, what's the other one? I don't know. The mom from Married with Children, and she's Gemma in Sons of Anarchy. She's like a robot mom robot house mom. Never really watched that. The one that I did see, this good Disney movie, was Disney Channel movie, was that fucking rollerblading one, Brink or some shit. That one was sick. That one made it to me somehow. But anyways, Hocus Pocus, it was good. The acting, Bette Midler was Bette Midler was the best of the three, which is, I mean, she's the best actress of the three, so that's pretty obvious. The other two didn't even have lines, I felt like. Sarah Jessica Parker was, I didn't realize that it was pre-Sex in the City, so it was probably like the biggest thing she had done up to that point, or one of. She was fine. The main boy in it was horrible actor. No offense, he was like fucking 17. That's another thing. He looks like a teenager, and the girl that is like his love interest in the movie, clearly is like a 23-year-old actress playing a high school kid, which happens. Like that's how it always works. But it was just, it clearly she looked older than him in my opinion, which was funny. Again, the little sister was the best, like the funniest, best part to me. That theme of him being a virgin was funny though. It's like so weird to keep bringing up in a movie meant for children, and it would just never go that way today, which is very funny. Like they just kept making fun of him, and he wasn't even that old. It's like it was understandable. He got at one point in the movie, they go up to a police officer for help, and of course he doesn't believe that they brought the three witches back from the dead. You got to help the town, whatever. And he ends up not even being a cop. It's Halloween, so he was just an adult dressed as a cop. But the little sister's like, he's a virgin. He lit the candle, and the cop goes to him and like leans him. He's like, "You really a virgin?" Like, mind blown that this like 14, 15-year-old kid, 16, whatever, is a virgin. Like, I feel like that's not that bad. It's just funny that it was the recurring joke. The last line of the movie, the cat in the movie is like the soul of a boy was trapped in a cat. It's so stupid. It's so funny though. And finally, the witches are gone and vanquished, so his soul is freed. So it's like his actual ghost is a human with the ghost of his little sister. And he's like, yeah, the last line of the movie. And I just had to wait 300 years for a virgin to save me. It was like they were forcing the virgin bit a little to me. But it was fun. So anyways, my review is it was exactly what I expected it to be. It's a cute little kids movie. It's 30 years old, so there's a lot of stuff in it that's like, I can't believe this isn't a kids movie. But it was fun. It was fun. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because last night, me and my girlfriend just painted some little like Halloween decorations, did some arts and crafts. She made a delicious homemade tomato soup, some grilled cheese, fantastic. Grilled cheese with provolone and Swiss on both. Usually I get a little weary. I'm a fucking house, so obviously I had 2 grilled cheese sandwiches with the meal. And I'd rather typically have 1 provolone, 1 Swiss, or 1 American, 1 whatever it is. I'm not a mixer. I didn't really want to mix the cheeses, but the combo of the provolone and Swiss was chef's kiss, fantastic. Highly recommend. But anyways, it was a great night. Had a little Oktoberfest. Sam Adams, just to get in the spirit of things. And at one point while watching the movie, I felt myself getting a bit anxious of like, okay, am I wasting? Like, it's Saturday night. I work basically a full-time job during the week, 9 to 5-ish. And so I always feel like, and then I try to work out when I get home from work. And then, at least 3 of the nights of the week, got to help cook dinner or, in some facet help. And so it's like not leaving as much time as I wish it did to do what I really want to be doing, which is make music. And not just making music, but all the other stuff that goes along with it, like getting people to listen to it, which is the hardest part. To be quite honest, I know that I'm very good at making music. I know that I am putting out good music and pretty solid, but like, fuck, man, the algorithms, all this shit, it's hard. It's tough, especially when you don't have a manager, an agent, or anyone really that knows really what the fuck they're doing. So it's like just based on my experience over the last 10 years of trying to do this. But it's crazy because we're in a period of time where even over the last 10 years, like things have changed so much. It went from like when we started making music, we were handing out CDs still. And that seemed viable at the time. So streaming wasn't even huge 10 years ago. And then it switched to the streaming stuff. And so the focus shifted to like making sure you're getting on all the right Spotify playlists and all these things, and that's still very important. But now even the focus has shifted even away from streaming, and now it's like TikTok, 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 which is fine. I understand things are always going to progress and change, but it's like, shit, I always feel one step behind because I don't fucking like TikTok. And I don't have any desire to be making TikToks or like get on there and be active, but I know I have to. It's a very small price to pay. Like, oh, you have to be on social media. Whatever. Who cares? All right, fuck it, I will. What I'm saying though is I always felt like I'm one step behind and there's just always more to do. And doing it alone, it's just mounting up more and more and more. So I work this full-time job during the week. I don't feel like I have that much time on weeknights because on top of, like I said, trying to work out at least, I try to work out every day, but at least fucking 3-4 times. And, you know, again, making dinner, those are those things. All right, working out, that's an hour. So I get home at 5-ish. No, I get home 5:30, 6 o'clock. I need 2 seconds to at least breathe and like sit there and process what happened during my day. So then what, 6:30, 7 o'clock, I work out for like an hour. Then it's 8 o'clock, which doesn't seem late. But then at 8 o'clock, I got to either help finish making dinner or at least eat. That's another hour-ish of time. Then I got to shower. Now we're talking 9:30, 10 o'clock already by the time I even have a second to be like, okay, now I want to sit down. But on top of that, because I'm trying to work on my mental health, I'm trying to sleep at like a decent hour and not do what I did for years, which is stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning, either working on stuff or doing nonsense, and then waking up again in the morning with 6 hours of sleep. I always felt like I was fine with that, but now looking back, it's like, no, that's not good for you. You literally can't do that. So with that said, it's about maximizing the time that you have during the day. Make sure you get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep and maximize the time you do have during the day. But that's where I'm running into some trouble. And then that kind of like makes me more anxious about the time. Like the weekend is, you know, typically you want to relax, kick back, you're not at work. I have such trouble doing that because I'm like, dude, yeah, but I have to be putting my time into what I really want. And I have no problem putting that time in. But then I almost feel guilty when I do get the chance to sit down and relax. And added into all of that is being in a relationship, and you owe it to your partner to invest time in them and invest time in your relationship. And, you know, there's a difference between being together and spending quality time and like doing activities together or like going to dinner or taking a hike together, whatever the fuck it is. There is a difference. So it's like, the time management thing is fucking hard. There's literally, it really feels like there is not enough time in a day or a week or a month or a lifetime. I guess that's the classic human issue. We all feel that way at times. So the reason why I'm talking about Hocus Pocus and all this shit is because last night, while watching the movie, after I ate this delicious meal, made some s'mores inside. Never done that before, but we have a fireplace. We're like, fuck it, let's do it. Delicious. While watching the movie, I consciously thought, like, this is nice. This was really nice. It was a nice night. It was just relaxing and cool and chill, and I was letting myself relax, and it was great. So between that and, you know, watching the Yankees every day, fucking waiting for Judge to get this home run because they don't really have anything to play for right now. The division's already shored up. Already won the AL at least. And then, again, watching the Jets, which is just... Even they're playing the Steelers. I don't know if you fucking care about sports at all watching this, but I love sports. So let me try to break it down. They're playing the Steelers. Both teams kind of stink, but the Steelers probably have more talent. And so I'm not necessarily expecting them to win, but they're in the game. And, you know, the Jets' shining hope of a quarterback that we are praying is like, you know, our franchise quarterback for the next 10 years, but we don't know much yet. He missed some time in his rookie season last year. This was his first game this year because of an injury. I don't have real expectations going in, but watching it is fucking pitiful with the penalties and just dumb mistakes, drop passes, turning into interceptions and shit. Hard to watch. But again, I did let myself go a bit and just be like, this was fun. This was cool. This was nice. So I did that. That was the thing. I guess if all of this, if you're listening still, which if you are, that's questionable. Um, I guess my point is just let yourself enjoy the little stuff. It's okay. I think it's more okay than we think it is. I think the little problems aren't as important, and the little things are more important than we think they are. Because, again, if you string together little happy moments, your life will be overall pretty happy. So that's what I was trying to do this weekend, I guess, without even realizing it. It's just like, whatever, yes, I know I need to do those things. Now, again, there's a fine line. You don't want to put off the things you need to do just to, it's not always happy time, okay? You got to put the work in. That's fine. But giving yourself some slack is important too, because then you kind of fall out of love with the work when you're like stressing over it constantly. So I'm trying to balance it all out. Life is like a balance beam. One foot in front of the other. And also your arms out like this. I don't actually have an analogy like that. I thought maybe I could get something out of it when I started saying it, and then I realized life is like a balance beam already right there. It's not like life is like a box of chocolates. When you say life is like a box of chocolates, you have to listen for the explanation, because that doesn't necessarily make sense. And then it's like, because you never know what you're going to get. It's like, ah. But if you say life is like a balance beam, it's immediately you understand what the fuck I'm saying. Being in here is fun. I love the studio. It's not as big as my previous one. That's what she said. But I like it. It feels more of like my own little nook of time and space. It's cool. That's another thing about the podcast, okay, guys, is that I think moving forward that, I don't know, it's a mental health podcast, first and foremost, 100%. I'm going to share how I'm doing and share things I think might help you. But also, I think maybe I don't know if I feel like I have other things to say that isn't just about mental health. And so I don't know if maybe I should do a different thing. Or I was thinking about, if you're watching, maybe you could give me your opinion on this. I was thinking about starting a completely different podcast, right? And then having Mental Health Mondays be part of it. Like, podcast name, this episode is Mental Health Mondays. And then, maybe do another one later in the week that's just me, joking around a little more, or, talking about music a little more, or whatever it might be. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me. I also don't want to bite off more than I could chew. This is already kind of a lot. It doesn't seem like it. It probably, I don't know. If you don't know, I sit down, typically write it out for an hour while watching some football. Today I didn't write anything, clearly. And then the first window of games end, I come in the studio, set it up, set everything up. That takes about 10, 15 minutes. Put a shirt on, because usually I'm just wearing my underwear around the house. And whatever. And so that's ours. Usually then the podcast is what? Right now we're at 34 minutes. It's usually around 30 to 40 minutes, give or take a few minutes. So that takes that amount, whatever fucking amount of time I just said, added together. And then afterwards, I have to airdrop the video from my phone, make sure the audio is EQ'd correctly, edit the video and the audio together with the little music in the background, which is another thing. I don't know if I should continue or not. None of the podcasts I listen to have music in the background. I just felt like just listening to me speak was kind of silly, or like it was missing something. Maybe I'll just leave the music in for the reels on Instagram and stuff, and no music during the actual podcast. Anyways, so I have to export a version of the podcast with background music and then one without background music. And then I have to take the export of that with the one without music, put it back into the video editing software, and cut up the reel, which takes way longer than you think. For 1 minute and 30 seconds, I have to skim through 15 to 20 minutes of the podcast, I'm like, all right, I kind of liked what I said here. Let me cut this together. And then once I do that, I have to go back and fucking caption the whole thing. I don't like how it looks really, but I do feel like it's helpful to actually see. I don't know. Again, maybe that's another thing if you watch the podcast. What do you think about that? Should I keep putting the captions on? Should probably talk to someone who knows more about TikTok and Instagram, because I feel like a lot of those videos have captions, and I don't know why. Is it only if it's hard to hear what they're saying, or is it just easier to follow along? Maybe it's more like captivating or interesting to see the words. It's not just someone talking. Immediately you see what they're about to say, so it's like, oh, I want to keep watching. Actually, I nailed it. I think that's what it is. I'm going to keep doing the captions. Anyways, what I'm saying is this shit takes a long time, especially when you're doing it completely alone. So maybe I'm biting off a little more than I could chew if I said I was going to start doing another podcast during the week. But the thing is, I do enjoy it, so I kind of want to. But also, then that's 2 different podcast episodes of just me talking to no one every week. And it's like, is anyone going to be interested in that? I don't know. But I also want to get guests and stuff too. So maybe I'll wait until I get the guests. Maybe, because then it would be like, oh, I have one guest. Maybe this person is, like, I talked about it with Jay, maybe doing something like, all right, this month of episodes is about grief. I lost my father at a young age. I have plenty of thoughts on it, ways that helped me get through it, things I did that maybe hurt me in the long run, whatever. I could talk about that, and then I could have another guest on who lost this person in their life, or someone who's an expert on it, or whatever, for that month. Like, so this month's episode will be about grief. And then that'll incorporate some guests and stuff, which would be fun and more interesting and probably help me as far as content, because I can only talk to myself for so long. And then also I could be having guests for the other podcasts who have nothing to do with, not everyone has struggles with mental health. I would say most people do, whether they realize it or not, but not everyone does. Not everyone really wants to talk about it, which I understand, as much as I'm trying to end that and trying to get people to be open about it. So then I thought about I want to have my landlord on as a guest. He is a 60-something-year-old Korean man. He is not married. He's never had children. He moved here from Korea when he was like 20-something. But he's fucking awesome. And I just thought that would be an interesting conversation. It's not every podcast has to be an interview with like some fucking celebrity. I feel like that would be super interesting. But that wouldn't necessarily fall in line with the mental health thing. So what I'm saying is, okay, Monday, boom, Mental Health Mondays. This episode about grief with so-and-so who lost their turtle when they were 11, and this is what they felt about it. And then Thursday or Friday, here's the episode of with blank, my landlord, just talking shit, interviewing him, whatever. Maybe that'll be the better way to do it if and when I want to start having another one. I just need money, man. Listen, man, if I had money, nothing would stop me. No, but seriously, it's like, I don't care about making money off my music, but at the same time, that is the entire goal. Does that make sense? Like, I want to make enough money so that I don't have to continue to work my day job, so that I can put all of my time into this. Duh, who doesn't want to do that? But if and when I am a little bit more financially comfortable, I'll have more time to do this stuff and also put more money into it so that it's more enjoyable for everyone, including me and you. See, now I don't know, reflecting on this episode. Let's do a fucking post-game, speaking of football, about this episode. I think it started off shaky. I think I really had no direction, and then made some halftime adjustments, said, fuck it, let me talk about Hocus Pocus for 20 minutes. And then I think it finished strong. I got my flow a little bit. I think during the episode I could have used some coffee, and next time maybe I'll do that. But overall, I kind of enjoyed just winging it. It was a little more fun for me than reading off the thing and then having to adjust my shirt over my fat stomach every time I lean in to scroll up the laptop to see where I am next. So I think maybe going forward, who knows, maybe I will not keep writing things out. Or maybe write a little short blurb. You know, if this was a TV show, like, what's that one? What's that one TV show? No, that fucking talk show with Bill Maher. They all have monologues and stuff. Maybe I'll kind of open it up with like a 3 or 4 minute thing, but not have 15, 20 minutes of the podcast be me reading from the laptop. We're just working through it. That makes sense. See, that's post game. And now, you start thinking of the things that you could do and for the next game. But again, I do appreciate it if you keep listening. I'm thinking maybe one day that when this podcast gets more than 5 views, it will be long in the future, and this will be an old episode that someone just goes back on, which that's cool. But I do appreciate everyone who's watching and supporting. With that said, I need more people to watch and support, just because I would not for me, please like me, not like that. Because I want more people to maybe like fucking hear what I'm saying, because I think I could help. I really do. Or maybe I'm entertaining. I don't know. That's a little conceited. I think the whole aspect of me doing this is a bit conceited, isn't it? Because I think that I'm interesting enough for you to watch me speak to nothing, to no one, just talk. Basically, I'm so interesting. If you just listen to 30 minutes of my inner thoughts, you'd be entertained. I don't know if that's true or not, but I certainly enjoy it. So that, I guess, is the first and most important thing. Sorry, I keep touching my nose. My nose ring itches. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going and trying. And, yeah, I fucking signed up for some stupid Spotify course. I don't know. It could have been a scam. It probably was. I don't know. $17. Who cares? They got me. Dude, I'm a sucker for a good Instagram ad. I really am. Clothes, gadgets, whatever. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. So I'm hoping that the things I learned from that will help a little bit with the streams on the EP. And I've just started working on some new music, which was fun. And I really like it so far. So that's good. So just pushing forward. Keep going. If you are still listening to this, like I said, you too, bro. You too, ma'am. Ma'am's probably not. Madam. You too, boys, girls, and all other identifications. I love you, and I care about you, and we're all going to be okay. We're all going to keep going, going to make it through whatever you're going through. I promise you can make it through it. I got to remember I'm okay. You got to remember that. Oh, no, that's not. I just fucked up my own little stupid catchphrase that I came up with. I got to remember I got this. You got to remember you got this. And if not, we got this. We got each other's backs. I'm here for you. Even if I'm not literally there for you, I'm here for you. There are people thinking about you and what you're going through, even if they don't know what you're going through. In that sense, that I'm pulling for anyone who's struggling. And I know that everyone has the capabilities of making it out of whatever mental health hole that they're in. I promise you. Because I continuously pull myself up out of my own mental health hole. So I know it's possible for anyone. But yeah, much love to everyone supporting. I got this, you got this, we got this. Peace out. See you next week.